This video is something of a sequel to my anime is not your excuse video. This is a taboo subject that I'm sure everyone's initial position always starts out on the other side of the fence, myself included. You can't gatekeep hobbies, one might scream. Who are you to tell people what they can and cannot enjoy? In a vacuum, this might be okay, but reality has a habit of being different than platitudes. And frankly, everyone is okay with some level of gatekeeping. The real question is, where do you draw the line? If someone constantly cheats at card games, you're gonna want to gatekeep them away from your tournaments. Games like League of Legends have a long-running issue of people complaining that not enough people are being banned for behavior in games. But the gatekeeping I'm talking about takes it one step further. It's not just about gatekeeping the hobbies anymore, it's also gatekeeping your shows. And I want to explain both why and how. I suppose before I get to the why and how, I should answer who. Who are the people I think should be kept away from everything you hold even mildly entertaining? To quickly summarize the whole video I did on these people, it will be the ones diagnosed by top scientists as fucking losers. The ones who weigh 400 pounds, smell like they are decaying, the ones who shriek at the top of their lungs at hotel lobbies, the ones who call out of work in order to finish an anime season, then demand communism because not getting paid for not working is oppressive. These examples might be a bit too abstract and vague, so let's be a bit more specific. The types of people who see a race of dumb, violent, bloodthirsty monsters and proceed to think to themselves, "Yup, those are blacks." They then get so angry at their own thoughts that they decide to cancel other people for those thoughts and proceed to change the entire game or media or whatever it is because of their own racism. People who are so subhuman that they are incapable of properly engaging in fantasy because the notion of being a better person is so foreign to them they can't even imagine it. So therefore, in a game where you can literally bring people back from the dead, let alone any other ailment, you need to have specific rules for people in wheelchairs. Cultural parasites who think a historical World War II game needs some cyberpunk lesbian storming the beaches of Normandy because they can't stand historical accuracy if they don't feel represented. Villainous scum who will lead a multi-year campaign to ruin your career and, ideally for them, have you take your own life from the harassment based on nothing but lies because a drawing that you didn't sign that so happened to fall under the broad spectrum of no fan art happened to also be yaoi.
It goes back to this voice actor named Vic Mignogna, and if you check out this channel long enough, you're gonna find a bunch of stuff about this Vic Mignogna guy, about the Vic Mignogna case. He was an anime voice actor working primarily for Funimation. The only time that this comes about is after Vic is facing these weird accusations. The accusations started from this. Again, I keep saying weird. There's so much lore here, and I can't distill it down super fast. The accusations came from this literal weirdo Fujoshi named Han Leia. Han Leia was actually mad about Vic not signing gay yaoi fan art of his characters. And in this case, one of the popular yaoi fan arts was to take brothers, right? To make it not just gay, but incestuously gay. And one of Vic's characters was a member of this sort of thing. And he said, I actually don't sign that type of art. It's not canon. And that's not what I do. I'm not joking. If this sounds so stupid, if this sounds like really, really dumb, that this would launch a crusade of someone to destroy a career with false allegations, it's because it is dumb, but it's also true. It's also what actually happened. And so the allegations really do, and I know, guys, I know. But they really do stem from some jilted internet weirdo mad that Vic would not, who they wanted to, they were somewhat of a fan, would not sign their gay art. And I mean gay in the literal sense. Their gay incestuous fan art that they made. He wouldn't sign it, and that is the spark that really ignited this thing. So again, there's a ton to read about it.
Mouth breathers who, containing no creative bone in their weak, misshapen bodies, but still wanting to feel special once you take already established characters, stories, fantasies, histories, plot devices, every single possible little thing, and turn it into some weird racial feminist LGBTQQAIP627 ! Diatribe. A show like Avatar hit upon nearly every possible metric of what the woke crowd should like. We have racism.
Growing up, we were taught that the Fire Nation was the greatest civilization in history. And somehow, the war was our way of sharing our greatness with the rest of the world. What an amazing lie that was.
Disabilities.
The stars sure are beautiful tonight. Too bad you can't see them, Toph.
Sexism being fought off by feminism.
Aren't you gonna fight?
Go back to the healing huts with the other women where you belong.
Gay relationships that they proceed to ruin in the preceding comics. And it was one of the greatest works of fiction we've ever gotten. And not because of, or despite these elements, because those elements were carefully woven into the fabric of this universe, not shoehorned in. It wasn't used as some sort of beacon for people who can only exist off of other people's pity for being seemingly oppressed or some other nonsense. Hopefully you've gotten an idea of who these type of people I'm referring to are. You can refer to them as the woke crowd, but I personally extend my net to also include the woke sympathizers. The next question is, why? Why should we take an active role in keeping this filth away from everything we hold so dear? Because, without exception, they ruin every single thing they touch. In my video, You Are a Story, I talk about how all of these stories, fantasies, fables, they make up the backbone, the very blueprints of our psychology, and by extension our life. Telling our kids about Santa giving presents to good kids doesn't just entertain them, it shapes their very habits and behaviors. And when you're able to put yourself in a fantasy, such as D&D or any other role-playing game, it gives you opportunities to learn something about yourself in a different setting, or maybe learn something about others in your roleplay adventures. But with the people I'm referring to, you're not allowed to have that. And here's the biggest kicker out of all of this. To anyone thinking or saying they don't want to gatekeep these people, just remember, they already gatekeep you. There is a series of comics made by George Alexopoulos that I'm going to put on the screen that perfectly sum up exactly how the last few decades has gone. A bunch of cancerous NPCs who have no will or identity of their own wander into your neck of the woods. They proceed to be all nice and friendly as they try to burrow into your hobby or whatever it might be. But sooner or later, they start to complain. They then expect you and the very hobby or platform or whatever else to change to better accommodate them. And if you don't drastically alter the systems in place that you and everyone else has used for who knows how many years or even decades, you are an ist or a phobe. Racist, sexist, homophobe, xenophobe. Because you don't think taking an established cast of characters and turning them all into women for no reason whatsoever is a plot device, it clearly means you hate women. Because you wonder why Hollywood keeps taking redheads and replacing them with black actors, it means you want to bring back slavery. If you don't want Themyscira, the island of only female Amazons where no man is supposed to be around, and has been established this way since 1941, to suddenly have a trans man in it, which makes no sense on multiple layers, then you support the killing of all gays everywhere or some other nonsense. It's amazing how little it takes to turn you into a Nazi in the eyes of these people. They don't like you. In fact, they hate you. They hate the idea of you having fun in ways they don't approve of. They will take modern masterpieces and rape it into nothingness, destroying everything that was good about it, all for the sake of scoring more woke points to impress their own inner circle. Speaking of inner circles and rape, these are also the type of people who will cry all the various types of isms and phobes at anyone not within their inner circle. Then they will proceed to be the very thing they claim to hate within their inner circle. When they get caught, they will blame the people outside of this circle for all of the inner circle crimes that have happened. And then they will proceed to punish everyone on the outside of the circle for those crimes, throwing it up to an overarching problem in the community, a word I've previously expressed disdain for. To recap, The who are the woke NPCs. The why is because they will gatekeep you out of already established franchises, then proceed to ruin them. So the next is the how. How do we deal with this? This part is going to be the most difficult because it'll have to involve more than just bitching into the ether. First part is started locally. Anyone who uses words like problematic, toss them to the side. Don't even be polite. Do not be accommodating. Do not apologize. Make them feel like a pariah and let them know precisely why. Because they will ruin everything and will seek to ruin you if you don't like it. Next thing you need to do, and here's where the struggle is really gonna come in, reject any modern and future works of places that have been infiltrated by these people. Do you know about Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9? No you don't, because they never happened. Pretend the entire mainstream comic books industry collapsed because all issues spontaneously combusted sometime in the early 2010s, or further back even. There is a ridiculous amount of brand new stories and characters out there for us to enjoy, so we don't have to keep beating a dead horse over and over and over and over again, like we have for the past 80 years. I'm gonna say this every chance I get. Comics like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, all the other classics are nowhere near as good as you think they are. Stop living off nostalgia, because your desperate desire for more nostalgia is what gives these people who have infiltrated these places power over you. Do you guys know about the upcoming Lord of the Rings TV series made by Amazon? No you don't. It doesn't exist and never will exist. The books will still exist, the movies will still exist. Do not give Amazon the time of day. But so far the focus on all this has been mainly American games and comics. Let's hit something a bit close to home for this anime themed channel, anime. This part right here is how you know the situation has gone insane. Anime as a whole is the antithesis to what a sizable part of this audience stands for. Japan is, by their definition, racist, sexist, xenophobic, and homophobic.
私も男のような女のような
どっちでもいいよ。なんだよお前は。
いいのよロンって呼んでねあビューティフルクイーンでもいいわ
知っても呼ぶか。
あら不思議なんならこの指の器用さ試してみる気持ちいいかもよ
But they will pretend otherwise until they get the proper opportunity to virtue signal, then they will have hated it all along. I won't rehash how the effective monopoly on dubs here in the States actively butchers series to this day, but there is a reason I actively and loudly promote for American audiences piracy, and for Japanese distributors to just give us a direct line to them so we can pay them instead. These motherfuckers will take media from an entirely different culture and demand that they change it to better suit their needs. And you know what? Slowly but surely, they are making ground. They now even have a seat in Japan to spread this poison. But since this is an uncommon subject, still held to be taboo by many, actively speaking about it will be incredibly helpful. Tell people about the idea. Make your own videos with even more examples I didn't touch upon, add your own take, share this video, and of course, actually follow through. Subscribe so you can watch more content from people on this side of the gate. These problems will not change with just mild complaining. Force them out.